Welcome to the Leonardo Joni Show. Today, we're going to be covering deportations. As you can imagine, all of the immigrants are really excited to go back to their home countries. The flags they proudly display in the streets, in their homes, on their shirts. So we as Americans have recognized that they're pretty miserable here. And we want to help them go back to the land they love. And they've reacted with joy, enthusiasm, gratitude. Just kidding. The worst thing you can do to an immigrant is make them go back and live amongst their own people.
Esto está pasando exactamente aquí afuera de la Corte Federal en San Antonio, donde esta mujer vino a una cita para seguir su proceso. Sin embargo, está acompañada por el niño.
All right. So obviously, we know the Democrats are going to show that to us over and over again, just so we could know what horrible people we are. Now, what I said, there's somebody said that the kid's going, relax, mom, relax. And she's going, I want to die. I said, Mexicans would rather die than live with other Mexicans. And it's true. They act like they're being sent to hell when they have to go back and live their own country. But as you can see in this video, no one's speaking English. The kid's not speaking English. The mom's not speaking English. If you love this country so much, why in the world are you not adopting even their language? This is the shit that can make you go crazy. Okay? Now, look, I'm not going to take joy in someone else's misery. I don't feel joy seeing this obese Mexican lady crying, but she is being a little dramatic. She's watched a few telenovelas and she's like, I want to die. I'd rather die than be sent to live with my own people. It's the worst thing. I'm not sure that I would want to go back to Albania, but it's pretty nice there, actually. Albania is pretty nice. I like my people. I did feel like I was at home, but I'm American now. And as you can see, I'm not talking to you in Albanian. I'm speaking English. English. I'm not dependent on the government. I don't get health care because I'm not poor enough, but my taxes pay for it for the poor. Make this make sense. Imagine if there was a service that you paid for, but then you couldn't get it because you had enough money to pay for it. But the people who didn't have enough money to pay for it, they got it. Liberals, of course, are reacting as is to be expected. We'll go over to one of their classic portrayals of, the poor migrants, woe is them. They're being sent back. How horrible. How horrible that they have to live amongst their own people. But we should be super happy to live amongst them when they don't even want to live amongst their own people. Amazing. Let's go check this out. What infuriates me so much about this operation is that it is literally punishing people for following the rules and showing up to their court hearings. It is so toxic to the basic concept of following the rules. ICE itself is effectively encouraging people to violate the law because some children were zip-tied at the San Antonio Immigration Court in a new crackdown. So the family, he should be happy. The family is being kept together. They're together. Obviously, you can see the mid-wittery of the typical liberal. I'd be interested to know what kind of last name this is. If we look at his face, I don't think we even, Yeah, I'm pretty sure we all know what that is. Of course, always pushing pro-immigration here, but not in their own single country in the Middle East. No way. Here's I mean, this is the typical midwittery, right? They're punishing people for following the rules. You can't get deported if you were a legal immigrant. Shocking. Yeah, you're not being punished for following the rules. You're being punished because you broke the rules of coming in here anyway. Okay? But now you've decided to follow the rules and show up to court because everybody knows where you live. So you just they would show up at your school or your work and deport you anyway. But this is what they want to do. They want to make you feel bad. It's so sad. I don't see this guy opening up his home. Why don't you open your home and let them live inside your home? And then when they're there, let them eat all your food. And they don't have to give you any money, by the way, because they need it. They need it. And when they got to go to the doctor, you should take them and you should pay for it. Why? Because they need it. Gives me that. I need it. Gives it to me. So a little nuts. And then I really, the issue is the crazy amount of money that we have to spend to supply illegal immigrants with food, with housing, with health care. People don't realize this. You can literally, if you're an illegal immigrant, you can get all of that stuff for free. I'm not kidding. Go look. Go to, if you look tan enough, okay? If you don't look tan, go sit out in the sun, get a sombrero, let your hair grow, your scraggly beard or whatever, and walk into a New York City health clinic anywhere. And, put your name as, Pedro Ramirez or whatever, and tell them you don't have any papers. Tell them you don't have no papeles, no documentes, no English, and you're going to be taken care of across the board. I am on tour. You can go to Leonardo is Funny for tour and ticket information. I'm going to be in North Carolina. I'm going to be in Florida. I'm going to be in Seattle. I'm going to be in the Bay Area. I'm actually coming to the Bay Area. I'm going to be in Kansas City, Missouri. So see me while you can, okay? And Fleckas, if you guys don't follow Fleckas, you guys should. He's pretty amazing. He's got a show. He covered this with the Somalis, which you guys all know how I feel about the Somalis. I've had enough. I've had enough of their exploitation. Why are we funding people who hate us and want us dead? I don't understand this.
At some point, shots were fired, and the individual identified as Janidi Ibrahim was struck by that gunfire.
Ibrahim's uncle tells us Janidi and his family are refugees from Somalia and have been in the United States for about 5 years.
The sad thing is the father's not even in town. He traveled to Africa, but we don't know when he's going to get back right now.
So the shooter's father couldn't comment because he was on vacation in Somalia,
where he sought refugee status from. These guys are refugees, guests in our country, and he's vacationing back to the place he fled from.
And then someone else, speaking of Somalis, which are obviously all over Minnesota, listen to what they said about the Somalis in Minnesota from this tweet.
A lot of Somalis in Minneapolis spend half the year in Somalia. The city council agreed to keep paying their Section 8 rent and food benefits while they are gone.
So the Somalis go back to Africa for large chunks of the year, and then while they're in Africa, they still receive food stamps and benefits and Section 8 housing.
I mean, that's amazing. That is phenomenally amazing. Okay. This isn't, listen, if you are an innocent American who's stupid enough to believe the nonstop propaganda about these poor refugees and how they're fleeing war-torn countries, does that woman right there look like she came from a country where she was starving? Huh? Let's see. Does that look like that to you? What about this over here, this little over here wearing a Kenya shirt, right? How about this? This has got to be lovely too, right? You got to love walking down your formerly white city and it's just black people in burqas. I mean, what are we doing here, folks? Like, what are we doing? It's bad enough when we got burqas. It's bad enough when we got African migrants. We're combining them now. All right? The only thing you could do worse than this is like a Mexican Pakistani. I don't know who's coming up with this. This is like a joke. This is like an episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm. Nobody wants this. They don't even want this. That's why they left. But then they don't have enough sense to be like, if I don't like my country and it's my culture that's made my country the way I don't like it, but then this country I like, and it's their culture that's making it into a country that I like and I want to live to, why don't I adapt myself to that and take on this culture that I want to live in? No, because my culture's better. But don't make me go back and live amongst my own culture. It's infuriating. So who's running this? Who's setting this up? Let's go look at the Minnesota city council that voted for this. Okay. Fleckus is, by the way, 100% right. I know somebody tweeted that, and you may not know if it's true or not, but 100%, I have seen it myself. Okay, where you will have these illegal immigrants claiming that they're seeking refugee status, and I shit you not, they go back to their own countries for vacation. It is a grift. They are 100% exploiting laws that were written in a way to allow for them to exploit it, because the people that run this country hate you and they want to see you dead. That's the reality. If you try to make sense of this without factoring in the component of evil on behalf of the people who are making these laws, it's never going to make sense to you. You have to understand that, okay? A lot of you guys are a little too dumb, a little too sweet, don't want to believe that there are evil people out there. If there was no evil in the world, there wouldn't be trans people. I'm not saying trans people are evil. I'm saying that people would love a person who thinks they're trans enough to tell them not to chop off their genitals, because that is not the way of compassion. Any other period in history, we knew that chopping someone's genitals off was a severe and horrible punishment. And only in this upside down, satanic run society that we live in could people possibly say something as idiotic as that is the way of love and compassion. Okay? And too many of you have been too silent about this because you're scared and you're cowards. And now your country is overrun by Somali trans refugees who are exploiting every last dollar out of your system that you put in there for yourself and your children. Fantastic. Awesome. Awesome. I hope the sports ball is worth it. I'm going to go check out this Minnesota City Council. Would you look at that? Huh? I'm so glad women are in charge of our country, dude. It's awesome. Women are fully capable of everything men are capable of. We're just as good at ruining this country as you are. Let's see if we could see all of these people. I don't, because we got to see them to understand. There we. Oh, gee. I wonder why the city council. Take myself off here. I wonder why the city council of Minneapolis voted to approve giving Somalians Section 8 housing and food stamps, even when they're in Somalia. Let's just take a look at that again, guys. There's only one white man here, and we're going to look into him. I'm sure he has absolutely no power. And 1, 2, 3. I'm counting that as black too. 4, 5, 6. 6 black women. 2 Jeets. Is it? It's just 2 Jeets? Yep. 2 Jeets. Liberal white women, feminists right here. Here we go. Voting to, we all know this one looks interesting, huh? One of these, is it? I don't know. Who knows? Jeez Louise, it's enough to make you sick. It's enough to make you sick. Let's see what the single white man's credentials are here. Okay. Where is he? I don't know where that is. This looks like some kind of lesbian Presbyterian preacher here. He was elected. Let's find out about him. He's been married for 32 years to his wife, Darcel. He's been living in Minneapolis for 5 generations. I mean, typical boomer, benefited from an all-white society, throws it away for the future generations, doesn't give a fuck. Give the Somalis everything. They need it. Gives me that. Gives me that. So I don't know what to tell you guys. Let's see if we can find some city council approves Somalian benefits program. Let's see. I mean, just searching this, look at this. It's all of this, just constant money being given. We're not just giving it to them when they come here. We're giving it to them in their own country. And still, it's not enough. It's not enough. Huh? I wonder what the problem is. Who's giving white people money? Let me just ask you that. Who's giving white people money to build the things that they build, to be able to send money to these countries? Who's giving it to them that we owe everybody so much stuff? I don't understand this. It's insane. It's insane. Just in case you guys think it's just the brown migrants that I'm picking on, it's not. It's an Asian migrant having the exact same reaction as the Mexican one when you send them back to their country. Let's take a look. Of course, if you guys don't follow Black Pilled, he's great. Yep. And he's saying the same thing I've been saying. The worst injury you can inflict on a non-white is to force them to live in a country full of people themselves. Okay. It would be one thing if they came here and were like, thank you so much, white people. We love you. We're going to try and adopt your culture and be a contribution because we're so grateful for the opportunity you've given us to develop ourselves and benefit from these systems that you've already built, which we can't build in our country because for some reason we just can't seem to get it together to get running water and have enough individualism to allow people to prosper and self-actualize. Because you did it, though, we're so grateful. We're going to be able to contribute. No, it's white people suck. White people are the devil. Why don't you just die? You're all racist. Give me your money. Give me your benefits. I don't care who pays for this. Who knows how the bus runs? I don't know how the bus runs. I'm not paying for it. Why would I pay for it? The bus just runs by itself. There's just a flow of money that just by itself. I don't have to contribute anything to keep this going. That's insane. No, we don't get that. Okay? And even if we did get all the graces, gratitude, white people still don't owe you anything. But forget about the way we're freaking treated. Owner of a Chinese restaurant that's been operating for over 2 decades in Maine has been detained by ICE as family fears deportation. Let me just say, okay? New England should be white, okay? There's a lot of places in this. It's all right. You want to say Texas? It's right next to, Mexico. Used to be Mexico. Fine. New England should be white, okay? That's the truth. I don't understand how a bunch of Chinese, there's Somalians up there, there's Puerto Ricans up there. Puerto Ricans, New York's for you, okay? You're called New Ricans. What are you doing in Boston? The Brazilians? What the hell? White people can't have shit. The reason people go to Cape Cod is because there's white people on boats who probably are the beneficiaries of multi-generational genocidal economic plans, but there was an order to things. Can you imagine if you went to New York and it was full of white people? We'd be like, what's going on? This is weird. We don't expect that from New York. But I do expect to go to Maine and not have to eat Chinese food. And I'm tired of everybody pretending like all these migrants have great food. Third world food is a scam. Don't tell me that people who are on the brink of starvation know anything about fine cuisine. Oh, but the spices, the seasoning. The reason they got to use so many spices is because you're eating a fucking pigeon. No thanks. No thanks. I'll take my nice, subtle flavors, my subtle white European flavors, because they use fresh ingredients, fresh vegetables, and fresh meat that hasn't been decaying for 3 weeks, and now you got to oversalt it to cover up the death in it. No thanks. I like subtlety. I don't need 7 pounds of salt on something. I'm tired of pretending. Mexican food sucks. Okay? Don't at me in the comments. Mexican, you've never had guac. Shut up. It's an avocado smashed up, put some salt and lemon and tomatoes in it, and suddenly you act like, oh my God, this is the bee's knees.
It's another emotional day for
Oh my God. You've been here for 20 years and you don't speak English? No. No. Look, if you had pulled up this guy and he's speaking, perfectly, he's got a Boston Chinese accent, whatever, speaking fluent English, maybe you would have had a case. You've been here for 20 years, you still can't speak English. You never wanted to be part of this country, all right? You just wanted to come in here, take all the money you could, suck it up, take it back to China or wherever you're from, and do whatever you were doing. I'm not buying this. I'm not buying this with any immigrants who start crying and they don't speak English.
His brother, Xing Feng Dong, was taken into custody earlier this month by U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement.
Also, Asian people, stop naming. If your last name is Dong, don't name your kid Xing Feng Dong, okay? Because you're just going to get made fun of. You're in America now, okay? Your name is Scott Thomas. That's it. That's the way it's going to be. We need to have a policy. You're going to come here. You're going to speak English. We're going to change your name.
ICE.
He said his brother is a hard worker.
Through a translator, Dong expresses his worries about how his brother's absence will affect other family members.
Out of the United States, his family will be broken. His kids, no father, and his business will be stopped.
Details are limited, but an assistant at the law office of John Chang in New York, which is representing Dong, says he's from China and out of status. Typically, this means someone has stayed in the U.S. longer than allowed or violated the terms of their visa. Dong recently lost an appeal to legally stay in the U.S. As of Wednesday, Cumberland County Sheriff Kevin Joyce says Dong is among 67 detainees at his jail being held on behalf of others. It's another emotional.
All right. See, whatever will we do if another Chinese restaurant can't serve us terrible grade chicken that you wouldn't even feed to your dog? Oh dear. I just want to point out, let me just point this out, okay? America passed the Hart-Celler Act in 1964, which specifically was disfavoring European immigration and favored non-European immigration. And you can look it up and you can see who was behind that, okay? Now, they also favored Southern European immigration, which, thank you, but Europeans, Southern Europeans, Eastern Europeans, they're all Europeans. I don't really care what anybody has to say. They're European. And you can't really tell the difference between a lot of Southern Europeans, Eastern Europeans, Western Europeans when they come to America. You know why? They assimilate. They learn the language. They don't open a Chinese restaurant that they operate for 20 years in the whitest part of America and still can't be able to string together 2 sentences without sounding retarded. But what I want to point out is what happened concurrently with us importing a bunch of third world migrants is obesity rates went through the roof. So maybe it's not so great to have a bunch of Chinese immigrants who use all kinds of terrible seed oils and MSG poisoning your population so the obesity epidemic goes out of control. Maybe it's not great to have a bunch of Mexicans firing up tamales, rolling them in corn and deep frying them, feeding it to your population and watching them turn into white Mexicans. Sometimes I'm in Texas and I'm walking behind some people and I can't tell if they're white, if they're Mexican, if they're male, or if they're female. No matter what they look like from the back, I'm like, I feel like a black guy would hit on you. Then I turn around and I see a full beard and I still don't know what they are. So, they don't really have an argument. You know, this whole thing about, well, the food is so great. The food's not great. Number one, it's disgusting. I haven't eaten Chinese food in years. It's horrible for you. It makes you feel like shit. You ever notice when you eat Chinese food, you get real sleepy afterward, and then within 20 minutes, you get hungry again? That's the MSG. You ever notice how your skin breaks out and you feel all gross? That's all the oil that they recycle over and over again, because Chinese people are really cheap and they refuse to replenish the oil, and then they can just pay off the food inspectors who are usually Chinese and look the other way. This is what happens. This is what happens. Now, the liberals are going to show these videos over and over again to make you feel bad. Oh, the poor Chinese can't come in here and poison us and exploit our systems. And the Chinese people aren't as bad as, let me just say. They don't get dependent on government services or whatever, but they do get grants for their businesses. Seem like you're an asshole when you have to harden your heart against this, but what you're doing is refusing to be emotionally exploited. That's what that mother was doing. Oh, this is the horribleness. That's my life. I've been suffering. Can't you see by my 45% body fat that I've been suffering? Somebody wrote under my comments, go be fat somewhere else. I thought that was hilarious. I literally laughed out loud. But yeah, they're going to tell you that you're a bad person, that you should give up your whole country and everything in it because these people are crying and they don't want to live with their own people. But they also don't really want to live with you because they come here and they set up parallel societies. Mexicans live with other Mexicans. And all you do is hear the same melody over and over and over again with a different singer. Right? I don't know how you can keep listening to the same song over and over again. It's enough to make you go crazy. They don't want to live around you, but you should let them in. They don't want to live with their people, but they don't want to live around you. They want to live with their people in your country so they can take whatever they want. And you are just supposed to let it happen. Then they have this crazy audacity where they feel entitled to your country. If you start saying things like, hey, I want my country to look like the ethnic demographic that created it, they literally tell you to your face, that's never going to happen. Cry more. We own you. I have a perfect example of it right here. And this isn't the only example I've seen of this. She's not the only one. And she is simply parroting a sentiment that is rampant among the immigrant community, a sense of entitlement, and this is our fault, by the way. This is our fault because we don't have any consequences when they do shit like this. Britain is never going to be only white again. I'll make sure this line of yours is engraved on your headstone with a crying emoji. This is Bushra Shaikh. I'm told she's from Pakistan, which is just Muslim India. I don't really care. And I said it's going to be a great day when this bitch is crying on a boat back to India. And because Steve Laws is a great British nationalist. He's pushing for remigration. And, London, it's really sad what's happened to London. They call it Londistan. And I'm sorry, but when I go to London, I don't want to see a bunch of Pakistanis, making curry in the street. I don't. I want to see a clock. I want to see British people with bad teeth. I want tea. I want crumpets. That's what I want. I want to be overcharged for everything. I want London. But this is the kind of shit you see. Hey, we're taking your country and there's nothing you can do about it. Cry more. Really? And this is because we allow it. We allow it. So they're testing the boundaries. There's no repercussions. What are you going to do about it, white boy? I own you. I own your country. And it's our fault. It's our fault. You got to stand up and take accountability. The buck stops with you. Oh, you're right. You are 100% right. You do own us. Well, you did. And now, here are the consequences of your actions. And when they're crying, when they're on their boats, and they're on the planes, and woe is me that I have to live amongst my own people, let's make sure you remember these moments. Make sure you remember when all the Mexicans were marching in California with their Mexican flags protesting deportations. Make sure you remember that. Make sure you remember all the Venezuelan migrants who came into Aurora, Colorado and took over the apartment complexes and had their gang warfare. Make sure you remember the Somalians who exploit the system of welfare and child services that come in and give you the same birthday and take everything they can. Make sure you remember the Haitians who refuse to even get a driver's license and are eating your pets. Make sure you remember this stuff. Make sure you remember the Indians and the Pakistanis who told you, what are you going to do about it, bitch? We own you. Make sure you remember all the Indians who took over the tech companies and only hired their own, even their own wives who don't know what they're doing. Make sure you remember these, so when their little tactics of a crying mother and woe is me, oh my brother, are shown to you, that you say, hey, these are the consequences of your own action. And I love you enough that I won't spare you, because the only way you're going to learn is when you suffer the consequences of your own actions. It's the human condition. That's it for me, guys. Tune in. Let's remember